Hey everyone, Carl's here from A Difficult Truth. So, welcome back from the new year. I hope everyone had an awesome New Year's with their friends and family. We're kicking off the new year with our second podcast episode. So, if you like what you see, give us a quick like, subscribe to our channel, and that way you'll get notifications of our weekly podcast. So, this is our first podcast of 2019. Super excited, and we've got a couple of interesting topics to talk about today. Uh, the government shutdown is still happening. Uh, Trump is still throwing his petulant temper tantrum, and I just have a couple of more comments on that. I mean, the new uh, the new incoming Congress attempted to pass a bill to try to reopen the government, but if it doesn't have the border wall funding, it's not going to get signed by the president, which is absolutely ridiculous. I thought he was like a deal maker or something. And I just want to bring a couple of things to your attention, that may matter. And that may matter to you. Your tax refunds, the money that you are owed from the government, is going to get delayed, but you still have to pay your taxes on time. That's interesting. There's over 400,000 essential employees that have to work without pay. I think that this is cruel and inhumane. You're basically, they're basically slaves. I mean, if you think about it, because they're being forced to work without pay while this nonsense is going on. This is completely inhumane, and I would say even should be illegal. Um, Overall, I think it's about 800,000 government employees, but there's about half of that are forced to work without pay. And keep in mind, while these employees are working for free, Trump's cabinet is getting a pay raise. And also interesting that none of the lawmakers get their paychecks suspended while the government shut down. I thought this was a government shutdown. Why are they still getting paid? Why are only the workers getting screwed? Yeah, I don't think lawmakers would ever touch their own paychecks. Um, so that goes across the board. Doesn't matter. Republican, Democrats, it's just slimy. It's just really slimy that they would even allow um, themselves to continue getting paid or even give a president's cabinet a pay raise. They should have suspended that while the government is shut down. I mean, you have 800,000 employees working for free, and you are giving them pay raises, pay bumps. I mean, this is just ludicrous. The only person who has said something or has mentioned it was Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She was the only one that mentioned it. Another disturbing thing that's been going on because of the government shutdown is because Democrats are refusing to give any inch of ground, which I think that they should continue doing that. I think that they should stand firm and not allow this president to bully them. Is that he said he could use potentially emergency powers to basically force funding for the wall by taking a little bit from the military. I think they're allowed, I think, up to 3 billion. I forget, but they're allowed to take that little bit off the top to fund the wall because it's a emergency. Now, that is extremely dangerous because it sets a precedent for authoritarianism, essentially. It's like, oh, well, this is an emergency, so now we gotta do this, or this is an emergency, we gotta do anything can be an emergency. If if women and children trying to cross the border and seek asylum legally, because that's how you do it, there's no other way of doing it, is an emergency, then basically anything can be an emergency, and this could open up this could open up Pandora's box, and it's extremely worrying. So if you care anything remotely about democracy, freedom, or anything like that, you should be extremely worried that this guy is even uttering those words, because it's not just him. He isn't going to be around forever. Um, Maybe the next incoming president will be like, okay, anything, it doesn't matter if they're Democratic or Republican. They could just be like, oh, well, this is a national emergency. I can do whatever I want. No, that's not how this works at all. So, something to, something to bring to light, because it's floating around kind of in the mainstream media, but I don't think it's really hammering down the point of just how disturbing that could be. And to all you conservative, alt-right people, I thought Mexico was going to pay for the wall. Why are we paying for it? Isn't Mexico going to pay for the wall?
Mexico will not pay for the fucking wall.
Didn't think so. Another interesting headline that came through: Elizabeth Warren is officially announcing her 2020 bid for president. She already filed an exploratory committee, which is basically the precursor. That means that she's running for president. There are other candidates to consider, but she is the big one that's come out officially, which brings up a lot of questions. Who is the best Democrat to run in 2020? Because I mean, I don't know if this country can stomach another 4 years of this administration. I mean, there's a lot of good potential candidates, but who's the best person to actually send against Trump? And another thing that comes to mind is just this. I can't shake off this uneasy feeling that if we nominate someone, I feel like if somebody like Bernie or Elizabeth Warren try to run for president and they don't win the primary, it's gonna cause like a kind of like a civil war within the Democratic Party, like what happened in 2016, and that cost us the election. All these diehard Bernie bro fans, look, I think that Bernie Sanders is the best candidate to run and would do the best for the country. But when faced with the choice of Hillary Clinton, which wouldn't be my first choice, I mean, I have a long list of criticism for Hillary Clinton, but when faced with the choice of Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, it's not even close. I mean, if you look at who he was even before the presidency, I mean, you could tell that there's some danger coming down our way. And I was trying to bring that to every time we had a discussion or debate, I was trying to bring that to their attention, like, hey, we can't just push your agenda, the Bernie or bust, and then just kind of they basically threw the election by doing that. It was complete nonsense, and I'm just scared that that's going to happen again. That we're going to go ahead and have another Democratic civil war, and it's just going to cost us again the election and 4 more years of Donald Trump. I mean, we really need to take a step back and learn from that and not fight with each other. Whoever wins the nomination, we have to throw all our weight behind to make sure that Donald Trump is a one-time president, and maybe he'll answer for his crimes once he's out of the presidency. I think that we can win. I think that literally anyone can run against him, and they should be able to win, because, I mean, come on. There's no reason why Donald Trump should have won the presidency in the first place. But, again, if you're a diehard Bernie fan, diehard Elizabeth Warren fan, keep that in mind. Let's not trash each other. Let's do what's best for the country. Okay, so that being said, the new Democrats just got sworn into Congress last Thursday, and already they plan to launch a few investigations into the emoluments clause, which we all know, this president is an absolute scumbag, has been using his presidency to enrich himself. There's no doubt about it, but that is one of the many investigations that they want to do. They want to investigate the security clearances and the firing of James Comey. They want to investigate a couple of things. Nancy Pelosi did regain her gavel, so she is now Speaker of the House, and she also stated that impeachment is not off the books, but they're not going to proceed with any type of impeachment until they have, the Robert Mueller report, basically, because they don't want to do it just for political reasons, which I agree. You can't just throw out impeachment like it's all good. It should not be easy to remove a president, whether he's a complete disaster or not. There's fail safes in our democracy to try to make sure that nothing gets too out of power, and if something does, the other branch can kind of check that. That's why the House of Representatives has oversight power. Another thing that has come to my attention, this is for all you Florida folks. A Florida committee, after the tragic incident of the Parkland shooting, they're basically convened a committee to try to see how we can prevent this, or how we can make our schools safer. Check this out. They unanimously approved a very controversial plan that would basically allow teachers to carry weapons on campus who volunteer and undergo the necessary training. Now, a couple of things on that. Look, this is one of those situations where you can't fight fire with fire. This is one of those situations where you have to go to the root of the problem and attempt to nip it before it happens. What do I mean by that? We have to find the root of the problem of this mass, particularly the Parkland mass shooting. The root of the problem was that we had somebody who didn't have the mental health treatment when it was necessary. So we have to have a focus on education and mental health, and basically showing that, hey, if you're going through something, that it's okay to talk to people, have more support, more counselors, better trained, school counselors, which, just from personal experience, school counselors are kind of meh. So we need to have highly trained professionals that can handle these type of cases. And it's also education. It's to basically encourage kids that, look, mental health is a thing, and if you see something, say something. Putting guns in the hands of teachers is not going to really stop the problem. It's just not. And it also opens up opportunities for other issues to come up. What if the kids, because kids aren't stupid, what if the kids find out where the gun is, and try to grab it when the teacher's not there, or if the teacher has it on him or her, what's she gonna do if 2 or 3 students rush the teacher to try to get the gun? I'm just thinking outlandish scenarios, but nobody thought some kid would come in and kill 17 kids. So, you know what I mean? It's not something that's out of the realm of possibility. It's plausible, not probable, but it's plausible. So why are you introducing new problems without even getting to the root of the original one? The best thing that we could have done in this situation, you had a committee to try to mitigate this issue. why not set aside funding for school counselors with actual with higher training? That just makes more sense. Why don't you set aside funding? Why don't you set aside funding for education? I mean, it just doesn't make sense as to why. Look, this seems to me like a reactionary um, policy that they're trying to do here, but I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think it'll work, and I hope that no other state or district will follow through to try to emulate that, because it just, I don't think it's gonna work. I think it's a dumb idea. We have um, we have so much better solutions that need to be considered. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have today. Thank you so much for watching. If you like our podcast, why don't you hit that like and subscribe button and ring the little bell so that you get notifications of our weekly podcast. Quick announcement: I'm also going to start uploading these on SoundCloud so that you guys can get it on the go. It's going to be soundcloud.com/a difficult truth. I'm going to post a link down below. That way we can go with you wherever you go. And see you guys next week.